All right, we're live and welcome everyone. It's going to be another one of those where we days where we're going to go through what's happening in the stock market, what is happening, who's doing what, and hopefully this is going to work unlike some of my previous attempts a little bit better. So we're going to just cover quickly before things really get going what the situation in the markets is and some of the news before they open. I was reading through a bunch of stuff this morning. So the stimulus approval in the US is a really big thing. There's two separate things on that people discuss, and I think we need to cover that. Like the first is, I think a lot of people have this really weird opinion about what the stimulus checks are going to be used for by people, and whether that's going to go and plunge a lot of money into the investment markets, and whether people are going to go and begin spending more, etc., etc. I think that whole thing, I've talked about it previously, is just not realistically a factor in my personal opinion. But the stability that it gives in the short term and maybe for the next couple of months before we get to the summer season, to people having more certainty in the next few weeks, being able to make their payments on rent and things like that. Like I think those things in the US market are hugely important. So I think that's going to be an interesting kind of preset to today, now that we're sort of in the final, everything's signed and dotted, and Biden was talking yesterday about it. We've had a few days now of markets doing this weird, interesting pattern. We've had a few days where at the beginning of the day, the markets open high. They open like as much as 10%. And by markets, I'm talking about tech stocks in here. The overall market is doing perfectly fine. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. I'm going to just turn this down a little bit because I think I'm peaking a little bit. So the overall markets are doing absolutely fine. If you weren't heavily invested in the tech market like myself, if you had a lot of your investments in the S&P 500, in like broad industry indices and other stuff, you might not even have noticed that anything has happened. And this is just another bit of proof that for the vast majority of cases, in the vast majority of situations, investing in just something as basic as the S&P 500 index is, in the long run, going to actually yield you better results than what chumps like me do and invest in specific companies, or even professional investors do with actively managed funds, which you can see in endless examples everywhere as well. So, but anyway, the tech stocks, so stocks like Tesla predominantly, AMD, Nvidia, Adobe, like even Apple had a big sell-off, and we are seeing kind of the situation where there was a sell-off for what was it, like about 2 weeks maybe, or whatever, on and off, and then we've been having this slow growth, and every day they would open a bit higher and then would see this sort of gradual climb back down, and they would end a little bit higher than they closed the day before, and then we're going to be going up again. And so where are we? A lot of people over the last week or so have been really heavily talking about like 10-year treasury bonds. I'm literally talking. I've got my notes, and somebody's writing. Can you see my notes? Anyway? There's been a lot of movement in long-term optics on bond yields. I'm not going to get into the depths in this video, in this live, because people are going to get really bored really quickly as to what the impact is. But there's been a lot of movement upwards on them, and that in a way causes markets to look differently at long-term projections on the company valuations because of what they can get from the bond market. And to me, as a product-led investor, as a long-term investor, as somebody who looks at the valuations of companies based on what that company might do, the kind of company that company might, the kind of money that company might be able to earn over the next 5 years, 10 years, the kind of products and services that might be able to develop in that time, and what all of those things. This doesn't really make sense when you look at it through that lens, but in the eyes of the market, if you look at the overall, there's people with pots of money, there's funds, there's like people making long-term decisions, and they have their own criteria, they have their own requirements to weight their investments according to different rules and principles. There's a million different macro reasons, but those things really go and affect each other. And the moment you have, one swing up, the other one goes down, and so on. Anyway, so as we're looking at it, I just restarted my computer, so I lost all my tabs. So I apologize. I'm going to quickly look a few things up that I'm saying. But as I was looking just a bit earlier, maybe about an hour ago now, because I was actually releasing another video and doing some other things, talking to some people. So we are seeing a big a big downturn today, unlike the previous few days this week in the pre-market prices. So let's have a look. I need to get something that is better than the stuff that I'm doing, but every day I try. So as it stands, if you look at some of the big ones, so in the pre-markets that I'm seeing now, Tesla is 4% down. And that's just the pre-market, and it has been massively up every single day so far. So that's a big change. Apple is 1.5% down, 1.55. AMD is 1.6% down. These are all companies that I hold a lot of. Square is 3.5% down, despite having massively positive news this week coming out from there. So this is a really interesting one, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens with that. Micron minus 2%. So we're seeing quite a lot of this stuff going on. We're seeing a lot of these companies lose value, and I'm not 100% sure whether that's going to continue in a sell-off, because pre-markets generally don't always represent what's going to be happening, even in the first 30 minutes, let alone a whole day. But anyway, just before the markets open, some people are saying some questions. Let me quickly see if there's something the people are saying that is worthwhile. What's my opinion on Palantir and Cloudflare? I talk about Palantir quite a lot in some of the other lives, and I'm going to go into too much depth. I hold a little bit. I am not 100% certain on what my view on long-term optics are. Cloudflare, I don't hold. I actually don't have much of a view on them either way. What's my... Could I do a video in junior ISAs? Yes, I had some requests for leases and junior ISAs. Junior ISAs, it's such a specific thing that very few people probably would genuinely be interested in, just because it's a more restrictive version of like a regular ISA, and it makes sense in my personal opinion, and this is not investment advice, to go and look into that if you've already maxed your 20,000 ISA allowance and your partners maxed their 20,000 ISA allowance, because basically sure, there's one benefit, which is it is in the name of your child, but if you're a family where that isn't like a necessity for you to necessarily separate that money in that way, there is a lot less flexibility, right? Because that money can be accessed until the child hits the right age and all that kind of stuff. And the returns on them, generally just the same with some of the issues with pointed out recently with Leith or some of these new products, are not as good often as well. And so I personally am not 100% sure for most people whether that's the best option in terms of the returns that you're going to be able to get. But anyway, let's talk about that. In another video, what are people saying? What are some options, cheap UK stocks and shares ISA accounts for monthly index investing? I've literally just released a video a few minutes ago about stocks and shares ISAs, and I can't remember, in the last few days I released another one about best investing accounts, I think day before yesterday. Go and watch those two videos. That's what they talk about. So make sure you go and check them out. In fact, the one from 2 days ago, that one literally says for index investing or ETF investing, depending on which ones you're into, which ones are the best. So go and check that out. I go into a lot of depth on that. Somebody says that they had a child trust fund, so they have to. Okay, sorry about that, Gareth. But I might do one at some point, because I think some people probably will be interested. I just think it's such a small number overall. But anyway, the markets are opening, so let's quickly jump to see what they're going to be doing in the first few minutes. And we are live. Okay. So let's jump onto the screen. I have no idea. Tesla, look at this. Look at this. This is more than even the pre-market maybe indicated. Look, we're almost 0.5% down here. Sorry, what am I talking? Almost 5%, 4% down or something. This is interesting. So shall we just look at Tesla individually, just so we can get a bit more, so we can see a bit more than we can see on this graph over here. 1 second, my layout needs improving. Tabs. Okay, here we go. So Tesla is down a lot. So we're down 670 sort of territory. This is a big drop. It looked like we're sort of correcting back up and we're going to begin pushing on, for over a few days, everything's good, but suddenly bang, look, it's dropping even further. And it looks like we have another sales day, or is this just, are we at the beginning of just what is going to be a bear market? Is Tesla going to be gradually sliding, a few days up and then over the long term? It's interesting because today is sort of the day when maybe that's going to be the first indicator that we're not in some kind of correction, as everyone has been talking about and thinking up till now. But maybe we are actually going to be going down further, or at least staying flat, not necessarily growing back or having some kind of recovery. So that would be an interesting one. Somebody's asking, Do I recommend starting a YouTube channel? Ben is asking. The answer is it depends. There's a lot of things to consider. I have a whole separate channel where I talk about that called the Sashi Anshin Story, so you can check it out over there if you're interested. So what's the best stocks and shares ISA to start with? Thought it was 212, but from your recent vids, I'm getting second thoughts. I literally made a video to Kia about this very question about an hour ago. Go and watch it. I answered that exact question. What's the best stocks and shares ISA? Go and watch it. I keep seeing the same question. The reason I made the video is because people keep asking in comments exactly the same question. So there you go. Is there any way, G is asking, to move my current workplace pension to a SIP whilst it taking whilst yes, there is. So you can. So most pensions allow partial transfers out. You just need to check the terms and conditions of your pension. And if that's the case, then one thing you can do is set up a SIP account and then sort of move the bulk of the money that's there, and then regularly move the money over as and when you get it in, depending on how frequently you want to do it or whatever. So then your company continues paying into your pension, and then you kind of shift it out. That's one option, but some pension funds have fees on all these kind of things. Anyway, so let's look at what's happening with the other shares as it stands. Apple seemed to be kind of recovering nicely. They were down to like 119, maybe pushing 118 territory, and for Apple, which is in terms of their stability, that is big. But look, we're seeing a drop here as well, a big fat red candlestick, and we're sort of sitting here waiting to see what the next move is going to be. Generally speaking, are we going to be seeing exactly the same thing with all the different stocks? Adobe down. Opened quite low on Adobe. What's AMD doing? Do we have AMD on here? No. Oh, we do. Here we go. AMD. Yeah, so everyone's down. Everyone's down by different amounts. So Tesla is like really being hit. These guys are down, but they're down like, what is it, like 1%? Maybe not even that with some of them. So 0.5%. So that's kind of one thing. But Tesla, this is crazy, right? When one of the biggest companies that exists in the world just jumps around like 5% down. This is not a lot. We've had worse most days over the last 3 weeks. This is okay. Jimmy, when Jimmy goes up, the rest is GME going up even further, because they kind of had a slight dip, right? But out of curiosity, I have no interest in talking about this, really, if I'm honest with you, or continuing this tragedy. But there we go. GameStop is pushing up, the only stock that's pushing up. So this is interesting, really interesting. Let me just. What is Tesla doing? Is this just a blip and it's going to jump back up? Did we see some just overreaction overnight and people put in positions that closed this morning first thing, and now we're going to be going back up? Is this just a blip? Are we starting a bear market? Are we going to be in the bear market for the next couple of months? What do you guys think? Thomas Aspinall is asking, do you watch Graham Stefan or Meet Kevin? Absolutely not, but make sure you smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and you can see what I'm doing over here. Now, of course, I watch all of them. I try to learn, right? So I am a noob. I know nothing about YouTube or talking about money. Like, I've worked in the industry for long enough, longer than both of them combined, but I don't know anything about YouTube or how to make good videos or how to make people enjoy and engage in the videos. So I'm sort of trying to pick up like what these guys are doing and why they're so good at what they do, right? As part of my learning, as well as doing, I'm trying to pick up information from everywhere. So of course I do. Like, it'd be weird if I didn't, right? so there we go. What else is happening in other stocks? Let's look at tech, and then just out of curiosity, what is happening with the overall S&P? Have we got that in here as well? See, this is a prime example of why you shouldn't listen to schmucks on YouTube, why you shouldn't listen to Elon's tweets, why you shouldn't listen to Kathy Wood and all the whoever the guru of the day is who tells you, like I am the best because I had a 12-month performance window. Look at this. If you had your money in the S&P 500, you're sitting there sipping mojitos on the beach, you don't even know something's happening. You're like, what? Market crash? What market crash? No, like nothing's happening. We're all good. Look at this. Really good example today. This is what chumps like me are looking at. This is what the rest of the world is looking at. So there we go. There we go. A big difference, right? A big difference. What's happening to some of the smaller tech stocks? Like, let's see, Zoom following the same pattern. Ooh, that's a noticeable drop. That's more than some of them. Yeah, look at that. That's like a good 4% down or something like that. Fiverr. Ooh, same picture over here. Intuit. Yeah, that's 3% in there too. Well, not quite 3%, but you get the drift. Yeah, that's an interest. That what's happening with these guys? Open higher than, and they're like, wait, we did the wrong thing. You know, when we said up, we really meant down, and decided to follow everybody else into the red, and that's what we get. What about some of these, some Micron? Yeah, everyone's doing the same thing in the first few minutes. Everyone seems to be doing exactly the same thing. So Tesla, Stephen Hamer, I apologize, I don't know, says Tesla continuing to keep going down. So many alternatives out there now regarding cars. Yeah, see, I'm not 100% sure I agree with that position. Sure, there are people beginning to do stuff and talk about stuff, but in real terms, in terms of like the performance levels, the levels of engineering that they already have achieved, etc., I think there's still a big gap, and that gap, I am not seeing it narrow as it stands. But like, I think visually and marketing wise, and the way that some of the other companies talk about their products, but in practice, I'm not sure. Why do my candlesticks not show this drop in trading 212? I don't know. In the candlesticks, make sure you select the 1 minute over here, so that you get the sort of live, the small performance, and then you'll be able to know. What's happening with Qualcomm and some other ones that are sort of in the same field? Is generally the whole of tech related stuff down? Is that what we're seeing? Let's see. Yeah, same picture. So this seems like it would be a good day to go and do some investing at some point. The question is when. And the second question is, I don't have any money, so I need to find some money under the sofa or something like that. Because or is it the wrong time to invest? Are we genuinely going to be going way lower than this? And are numpties like me going to be putting their money in while the markets continue going down further, and we're going to have another like post.com boom, you know, like where some of the tech sectors took sometimes 10 or 15 years to recover in some cases? Like, is that what we're going to be seeing? Who knows? Who knows? We shall have to find out. People are saying I should check out all these different stocks. They're all going up. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going up, I'm sure, because if all of this stuff is going down, it's just like, I have my own mentality in that I try to invest in things that I understand, and I believe I understand like to a better degree maybe than my average understanding of other companies or sectors or industries, especially if I, you know, have some technical knowledge about some of the things that some of these guys do in some shapes. Even if it's surface level, which it is in most cases, right? Because I am not like an electrical engineer manufacturing Tesla cars or AMD chips or whatever. But I still feel I understand those industries far more. And like, everyone has very different opinions about this. My personal view is I don't really want to invest in something where I don't have enough of a understanding of the company. And you can build those for sure. You can spend like your time educating yourself, but that takes a lot of time for me. But if I can't sit there and really understand, you know, what it is they do, what drives the price. I've seen so many videos where people go and talk about the company and they say, oh, this company, yeah, they do this. And literally in the first minute, they open and they say something which is fundamentally not like in some cases, like the primary thing that the company does, or their primary revenue stream, or just like you can tell immediately they don't really understand what it is, and then they proceed to tell you what their valuation of the company is, etc. And I'm like, well, if you don't fundamentally understand what the company does, how they earn their money, how they might earn their money in the future, does that really put you in a strong position to understand like what your view is on their future potential? And I know that in lots of cases people say, well, you don't really need to understand all of that stuff. You just look at their numbers and you can just go and crack your quick model and put your 12% discount factor in to be sure, and then you're all good. But I'm just not that kind of guy, you know, like that's not me. I
I just don't like doing that. I like having some kind of certainty of understanding in my mind. And so I've already sunk everything I had into the sales, but look, there's more sales going on. I honestly thought when the stimulus kind of got the final sign of it, I thought, hey, everything's gonna be good now. We're all gonna be going up back, whatever it is, Moon, Mars, or wherever it is that people go these days. But it looks like the fun is only just beginning. These last 2 years, what is happening? And what is happening? It's crazy. So it looks like we're seeing a little bit of bounce on AMD here after the initial drop, although they hardly dropped at all, if we're honest. Apple's still going down. Still nothing here. And oh, where is Tesla? This window is not good. I need to improve my window management system. Tesla looks like it's sitting flat. Maybe this will be a good time to buy. I think maybe after I do this live, I'll go and jump off and I'll try to go and buy into some of these stocks. But I first need to find some cash somewhere because I just still think like this price is good. Like I was buying at this price a few days back and I thought it was good. It's still good, and like not much has changed in terms of the fundamentals in my view. So, what's happening with Neo? I have a bit of Neo, and Neo has been hammered recently. Um, oh, I'm in the wrong account. Ignore me. I'm in my ISA account. I need to change. I can't be bothered to do that right now. We won't do that. What are we on? Down 4.5%. There we go. That's the answer. Okay. It's not the interesting thing. So Bitcoin has been having a bit of a rally, a bit of a surge back, right? And Bitcoin's beginning to actually have sort of exacerbated versions of the behavior of some of these tech stocks and tech assets. I guess it is being linked a little bit more with them, like the whole Tesla story, everything else. But it's interesting because like the bounced and then look, here we go. It's back down a little bit again, like 1 or 2% down overnight versus where they were yesterday. So this is an interesting one. In case you're wondering why my portfolio here looks like it, it's because I haven't done anything with it. I bought some of these as examples for some videos that I did, and I bought ADP to test whether eToro correctly takes off the right amount of dividend withholding tax. But other than that, don't take this as anything of interest. This is just my fun and games portfolio as it stands. I will put more effort into it. I am aware that I need to do something more with it, but we shall see. Francisco reckons that he can't see this going up consistently anytime soon. Too many factors over the bear market argument. Cathie Wood created a short's delight with some oversized positions in her ARK funds. Well, I think like her oversized positions are only really material when you're talking about, maybe some of the smaller stocks that they have overexposure on, like maybe even Palantir or something. But look at Tesla. So they hold 10% of their ARK innovation fund in Tesla, just over 10.4 or whatever it is. And they have much less of it overall across the rest of it. So that portfolio is only a part of their overall investment strategy. But even if it was 10% of their entire 50 million, which is apparently that is, that's like less than 1% of the total Tesla stock. And so in reality, they probably only hold about I don't know what it is, like 0.5% or something like that, 0.6% maximum, not even that. Even if all of that was sitting there, so it's they hold it, but it's not groundbreaking. It's not like they own 60% and whatever they do swings things. People forget about the orders of magnitude. Investing funds are at the end of the day not as big as some people think that they are or give them credit for being. So I'm primarily drinking tea because people keep questioning whether my cup is real or whether it's just a bright thing that I have on my table, for fun and games. But it is true, it has tea in it, and it also means that I don't keep losing my voice, which sometimes happens. Right. Let's have a look at what is happening in other stocks. So we're seeing a slight bounce now after the market open. So fell, bouncing slightly. AMD climbing back up. Tesla deciding to climb back up. Maybe I should have bought. Maybe this was just a blip. Maybe in the morning people were just like, it's Friday. I need some money to go out. Let's sell a few stocks. Look, everything's going back up. Interesting. what is Google doing? I mean, I know Google is in no way, in any way, representative of what's happening with the market, but I always find it interesting just to see what they're doing, just to compare. Um, okay, Google is down a little bit, but we're talking fractions. We're talking tiny, tiny fluctuations in there, so nothing really particularly interesting. um, Trying to see if there's any news coming out that's affecting any of this stuff, but what's the buy the dip strategy meme go wrong? Yeah, well, you're watching it live, right? Because I bought a lot of this dip. I mean, for me, like, in the grand scheme of things, relative to my sort of money and portfolio, I bought quite a bit. But I might be buying more. If this sort of continues sitting there for another 15 minutes, we might be buying a bit more. So that'll be quite interesting. I'm curious to see what Bitcoin's going to do, because I thought that maybe we're going to be doing another one of those like dips down, sit for 3 years, then do the next climb. But some of the news in terms of their adoption, in terms of people using it, seems to have had an effect. And we're sort of climbing back up way faster than I think some people anticipated, like realistically. So if you look, I mean, like, this history doesn't go anywhere near far enough. But so if you look at sort of these flat bits, like, are we still on the up? Are we now going to be having some kind of different behavior and plateau just because of the adoption curve? Who knows? I don't know. What I do know is I've used up like everything. I've used up all the money, and I know I could go and get margins. That I don't wanna. We're not gonna play those games just yet. I'm not in the right position for that. I don't want to be playing that game. Okay. So at the moment, it's really hard to tell what's going to happen with these. At the moment, it looks like we've done the drop. We went further down after the initial drop on all of these tech stocks that I hold a lot of, and now we're just sitting around here waiting for what people decide to do for the rest of the day. Oh, look at this! Thank you very much, Harry. It's very appreciated. Thank you. I'll buy myself a beer on a Friday with that. Agriculture, construction, pharmaceuticals are significantly up because of stimulus injection. We have transitioned into a pseudo-command economy. Okay. What do you guys think? I mean, I'm not sure we've transitioned into into anything just yet. I think the early reads are difficult to make as to exactly what's causing what, because there's so many different factors. I was talking about, like, bond yields, a bunch of different government policy, long-term outlooks on 10-year instruments, etc., etc. There's just so many different things. So what's the difference between classes of shares? Yeah, voting rights versus no voting rights. So I'm guessing this is when people saw my Google Class A versus Class C. Yeah, it's just that. Pretty much no real difference in terms of the money side of things. Stephen Heyman makes an interesting point. He says, just a bit further up, not everyone buys sports cars. Tesla is a sports car of the EV world. Tesla not very versatile as a vehicle. No small cars, vans, medium size MPV, also insurance press. I think that this is the bit that people, because they started out sort of on that front, and some of the news like, oh, they're the fastest now, or whatever. But that's changing rapidly. They're making far, far more of the Model 3s and Model Ys, and these are just like basically the new Golf, right? That's what they are now. So I think people are misunderstanding what their business model is fast becoming. Like, these are $30,000 pound equivalent, sort of roughly, 40,000. It depends on the country. And a number of factors. But these are like reasonably normally priced Golf equivalent sort of alternatives, if you like, or like Camry in the US, all these like cars that have been sitting there just for years collecting the cash. Like, these guys are doing the right stuff, and they're producing far more of them now than they are of sports cars. And I think like people are beginning to adopt, and sure, it will take time, and there's going to be, but I just think I think they're doing all the right things, and the margins on those are only going to be climbing with these new factories. So I'm not sure I agree with that, Stephen. So there you go. What other investments do I hold apart from stocks? Not much, if I'm honest. I have, well, so in my investing portfolios, I have some other stuff like ETFs and other stuff like that. But in terms of investing money up till now, so for a really long time, I was like either just working like regular people and sort of making life happen and stuff, and then investing in everyday things like house, other stuff, myself, my business. My business I've been running for a long time now, and I pretty much reinvested everything that I had into growing my business rather than sort of me or into the stock market or other stuff, because that's what I've been doing. And when I've been starting this new venture as well, that's cost me quite a lot of money in various different weird and wonderful ways to basically start doing YouTube and online content. I have blogs and other stuff I do. And so, yeah, so I guess the second big set of investments I've been doing more recently is on that. But at the moment, I don't have a lot. I have a whole video that you can go and watch. It says I suck at investing or something like that, where I go into depths of how of that. If you're interested, if you have nothing else to do with your life, you can go and watch that video. I do these rant videos every now and then. With some of them, very few people watch them, but I sometimes feel I have to just let something off my heart. Like I just see something happening. I've got one that I was thinking of doing this afternoon, and I'm not sure. I'm either going to do that video this afternoon or I'm going to do one on my second channel this afternoon. I haven't quite decided yet, which is another ranty video about the state of UK credit industry, because it's just horrific. We're talking like it's you probably don't want to know. It's boring, but it's just the stuff that happens and the way that the whole industry is set up to squeeze the money out of the people who are in the biggest amount of trouble with debt is really not good if you really begin looking at it. But anyway, we might do that rant next week, which we'll see. Another thing, just before we begin looking at the numbers again, another thing is I promised that I made a video recently and I talked to some people. I said I'm going to do a valuation of Tesla video, and I said I might be doing it today. I'm not going to be doing it today, this week. Just you might have noticed I've been putting out less stuff than maybe I have been over the last few weeks. There's been a few things going on, and the same will be happening next week as well. I'm really tight on time because some other things have come about. I'm not going to go into the depths, but I will be doing it. I am sort of, I don't know, maybe like in the early stages of doing the prep work. It's one of those videos that requires me to actually spend quite a long time doing the prep work to make sure that like everything is dotted and crossed and whatever, because if I don't do that, then inevitably I'm going to have some kind of errors in there, or just approximations that are too basic or too over the top, and if I haven't thought it through, then the video will just die, or people will point things out saying, you suck because you made this one mistake here or whatever. I just need to do a bit more work on it. So that will be coming maybe end of next week, but given that next week I have 3 days where I can't do anything, so I might not even be able to put out any videos on those days. So it might be that I have to wait until the week after that, even with that. So I'm sorry about that, but it will be coming, and it will be worth the wait because it's quite different, maybe to some of the stuff you've seen before on some of the channels. So there we go. Gareth's asking me if I remember recommending Own the World by Andrew Craig. I don't remember recommending it. If you can find the video where I recommend it, I don't remember recommending that book. Maybe somebody else did. I don't know. Right, let's go back into the stock. So we're seeing a bit of a bounce back. So look, we were down. Like, you could buy stuff below 670 this morning when the stocks first opened. And we're sort of seeing this mixed bag, slow stepwise progression upwards, which is good. But what are we seeing on some other big tech stocks that I hold as well? Same story here. Amazon, not really the same sort of thing. Nvidia. What's Nvidia doing? What are you guys thinking about Pinterest? Because Pinterest is an interesting one. It's still sitting below over here. So I have a small amount of money in Pinterest. It's in different portfolios. In this one I have, what do we got? Where is it? Missed it. Yeah, £380. So it's not like I'm not hugely exposed, but they have done very well for me because they've been growing like absolutely nuts, and I was investing in them from before all of this stuff has been happening. But I need to redo my valuation on them because I haven't done it over any of this period, and I'm not 100% sure what I think of that number now because it's now a bit out of date. What do you guys invest in Pinterest? What do you guys think? Because to me, they're an anomaly. They're sort of like the third biggest search engine in the world, and one of the top 10 social networks, depending on how you define social network and how you define the size of them, and whether you think it's a social network or not. But some people would say that they're a top 10 social network as well in one, and they have they have this big advantage where they have like a completely unique way of indexing information, of presenting that information to users, and the demographic is like really unique in that it is weirdly tailored towards like wealthier segments, towards more mature segments, towards segments in Western countries. There's a lot of really unique, interesting points about these guys and what they might be able to do with that going forward. There's a lot of like tech gremlins and stuff that they've been battling for some time now in terms of trying to sort of overcome and grow. But that'd be interesting. What do I think of Etsy? Really good things. I'm not actually invested in Etsy, and it's one that probably is one that I want to be invested in at some point, but I just haven't got to putting money into them just yet. They've been doing very well, right? I mean, they've been doing good stuff. Like, look at that. So I do have, for the same reasons that I was saying before about some of the other companies, you know, like it is a very effective enabler that has unique like features, unique existing market position as a dominant player, unique ways that they do certain things, where they are an enabler of the gig economy. The gig economy, in the sense that, you know, smaller entities being able to effectively reach the same audience as bigger entities, which previously was much more difficult to do. And these guys are enabling those kind of things, and this, I think, is going to continue growing for a long time. So I think I need to invest. I think I'm late to the party, but better late than never. I think anyone who has invested like sometime early last year, I mean, like, it was the right thing to do. I don't know why I didn't, and like I feel like a dumbass now. So maybe I should have. But yeah. I'm a big fan, and in terms of like, I was actually looking at the valuation last week. I know, back of the envelope kind of stuff. I'm positive. I agree with you. I think that's a good one. So we're seeing continue to climb back. So I'm not gonna stay around looking at these for too long, because, you know, it's only so interesting watching a guy look at black charts on a screen, and I don't have the money to invest, so I can't do even that right now. I need to go and do something else before that. But yeah. Markets open down, climbing back up. We are recovering like halfway almost to where we were, which is good. But is it going to continue? Are we going to break where we were closing yesterday? Are we going to see a change towards the end of the day where we're going to be losing confidence in the market because of some of the things that we talked about earlier and going to go further down? Well, we shall have to wait and see. Right. This stage, I think that's where we're going to end it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I apologize to anyone who made comments that I haven't read, because it's just, I'm trying to focus on 20 different things. And thank you very much again to Harry for sending me some money for my beer on a Friday night. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later.